Hi, everybody.
Hi.
We're here today to talk about dinosaurs again.
Are we?
Are we? No, we're not. That's a
Wow.
lie. These are not real animals. They're actually computer models on a screen that we're going to talk about for like an hour or so, and it's going to be great. We're going to have a good time. We're going to get many normal comments about this, I'm sure.
Yeah, if you're upset that... Oh, sorry.
No, go
If you're
ahead.
upset that for this channel to be functional, we have to make a video about every single thing this game does, and then we express our feelings about them, please leave a weird comment. Please be angry at us. It's so funny.
We laugh about every single one of them. Don't worry.
I like every single one. If your comment has one like, it's almost certainly me. You can see, actually. I think it tells you who likes your comments.
It does.
On YouTube, right?
It does tell you who likes it.
I just use my name on YouTube, so that is me.
Anyway, collectively, we are the Skeleton Crew. Before we get into this mess, if you do actually like what we do, please like the video. And perhaps if you really like what we do and you want to see more of this, maybe even if you hate it, if you want to continue to leave weird comments and you want to know when you're supposed to leave your weird comment, subscribe, because then you'll know. And the other thing is, if you hate us that much that you want us to seek help and improve ourselves as people, you can support that on Patreon, which we have. And our last announcement before we get into this is that in a couple of weeks, in the first weekend of April 5th through the 7th, we are going to be attending the Midwest Gaming Classic at our first ever in-person event. I'm really excited about it. We worked really hard to make some new merch for it that I'm really proud of. I think it's going to be really fun. It looks really cool. We've gotten an in-progress photos of the pins.
So good.
They look so good. So if you're going to be there, stop by, buy a pin or 2 or 12 or whatever, whatever your heart desires. But anyway, we're really excited about that. We're going to be, I think, collaborating with some other folks that are going to be there that do various kinds of gaming adjacent things. So we're really looking forward to that weekend. And I am looking forward to spending a weekend home because it is hosted in Milwaukee. So if you are in the area, if you like games of all kinds, swing by. It's a good time. I've been before several times in the past. Without any further ado, I suppose we should introduce ourselves before we introduce the monstrosities.
Man-made horrors beyond our comprehension.
Oh, I can comprehend them. I just don't care about them. Anywho, my name is Amelia Zietlow. I am a PhD candidate at the American Museum of Natural History.
My name is Scott Johnston. I'm the vertebrate paleontology fossil preparator and technician at Harvard University's Museum of Comparative Zoology.
Who we love very much.
Yeah.
Clip to end of video.
Said in the most patronizing tone.
I'm a guy, and I am a person. My name is Alex Rubenstahl, and I'm a PhD candidate at Yale University, and I have a splitting headache. And I can't wait to talk about these designs with you, my good friends on the internet.
Yes. I'm sure you can't. I'm Dalton Meyer. I'm also a PhD candidate at Yale University. And I make no apologies for how I feel about the hybrids and the pack that contains them. And together,
we're
the Skeleton Crew. Minus
Mostly.
James.
Mostly.
Yeah, James is in time jail.
He's committed some
With
future
Shadow the Hedgehog.
crimes.
Yes.
And he's serving his time now for those because it'll screw up his plans if he has to serve them when he commits them. So
He's receiving the numerous lashes that Scott was intended to receive for his heinous comment earlier.
You know what? I'm just gonna like Photoshop my face onto Casper Van Dien in that scene in Starship Troopers where he gets the public lashing.
That'd be funny. But yes, so he's not with us this day.
No, he is not, but he is here in spirit. And by that, we mean that he's going to be mad.
Yeah.
Yes.
I feel I feel unnecessarily angry about these virtual dinosaur models in a video game, and I think it's in part that the spirit has possessed this call.
I would like to say, sorry.
Oh, I was going to make a preface too, but you can do your preface first.
This is my preface. Here's my preface. I don't hate the designs.
Mm-mm.
My frustration with this is, one, these should have been in the game already. They were in the last one. 2, only one of them is new. 3, I like real animals in my game. This is, again, if you like these, cool. We are not your friends. You don't have to agree with us about everything. You can like them. We are going to be critical of them. We are not particularly critical about the other things in this game, and accuracy to us is not the be all or end all of us enjoying something. Maybe these are also just bad. Have you considered?
Alex, you pretty much got all of what I was going to say in my preface, except to add a corollary to your last point, and then one other thing that I was going to say, which is that I like getting new real dinosaurs in the packs, which is why I'm disappointed in this pack, just its release, and especially that because. And there's sentiment about this, and there's good reason to suspect this won't be the last DLC.
Yes,
I don't think it will be.
God, I hope so.
But there is also, I think, a sense of people who play this game that, like, looking ahead, it's clear that this is probably going to be in the waning portion of the content we receive for the game. And we've been getting such bangers.
It has,
of like basically every design that isn't in the Camp Cretaceous is incredibly good.
Oh,
all of these new things are like great, and it's just it's less than like, oh man, hybrids. I can't believe there's hybrids in the game. And it's more like I would really rather, as the game is entering its twilight years, be receiving more of that really excellent new stuff still. Mm-hmm. And I think there's more of that on the way, and I look forward to that. But we're going to talk about the hybrids today, and then the other part of my preface is just that we obviously harbor no ill will towards the artists or creators who make these.
Oh God, no.
We may be critical of the designs, but I'm not upset that someone made them.
In fact, like one of the designs in particular got, as we mentioned in our reaction video, got a significant glow up in between games. And that is due to the work of the great designers over at Frontier. Specifically, I believe that one was designed by Emily Chu.
Yep.
I think so.
And she did a phenomenal job turning the creature from the Water Horse Legend of the Deep into an actual hybrid dinosaur.
Yeah.
I like that so many of the people in our Discord were like, as soon as James mentioned that, they were like screaming at each other of, oh no, it's so right. Oh, it's so right. That's 100% what it is.
It really is too.
Was that a well-reviewed movie? I remember liking it, but I also remember seeing it when I was like,
same.
I don't remember much about it.
It's got a 74% on Rotten Tomatoes, so I think pretty good.
Yeah.
I remember weird mystical things about it, like that there's only allowed to be one of them alive on Earth at any given time and stuff like that.
That's interesting.
I don't remember most of it. I think I saw it on TV. Anyway, should we start with the titular water horse?
Let's start with the water horse.
We'll go in alphabetical order. Right? This would be...
Yeah.
This would be alphabetical order, yes.
Yeah. All right.
A water horse. Okay, I see.
Here it comes.
God damn it, Amelia.
It was incredible. Thank you for that. I was afraid.
Ooh.
You know what it makes me think of right off the gate? Because it has the beak.
Yeah.
Is the Apatosaurus from Zoo Tycoon 1.
You're so right.
Whoa.
You could tell that something in Zoo Tycoon 1 had a beak.
Yeah, it did. It did. It was really weird.
In the Zoopedia art for it, you could. And this color too makes me think of that kind of a reddish brown.
Alex, they also had it was kind of one of the feature creatures of the game, and it was in like a lot of the splash art and stuff, and it very much had like an eagle beak, and it was really weird.
Okay, this is a pretty substantial improvement over the first one.
Oh yeah, it's not even funny how much of a glow up this thing got.
Yeah,
we like it.
So I've got it here with some with some Diplodocus and Ankylosaurus, because those are the constituent genomes of this
monster
hybrid. It makes really
these sounds are
good,
phenomenal.
Sound design on this does rip.
Now I've heard a concerning factoid that it can't hit anything with its giant tail club.
Oh, is it still?
It doesn't fight.
It still doesn't fight.
It's kind of a bummer.
No,
but it does look not bad.
No,
and the sounds are good.
Looks like they're gearing up for a social animation. Oh, as they just pop.
Just a little bit of a twitch, but okay, they're talking. You little kiss.
Aw. Kissy time.
That's cute. I do like that. This just watching it grows on me.
I like this one a lot.
I'm loath to say, but this may end up being my favorite of the pack.
Mm.
Oh,
schmonk.
Bonk.
Oh. It bonks. They bonk each other with the tail clubs.
Hey,
they're social. Oh my god! It reflects our current understanding.
Yeah, we mentioned this in Ankylosaurus, which won't have come out yet by the time you're watching this, viewer. But it is now thought that perhaps the impetus for evolving the tail weaponry in Ankylosaurs was intraspecific combat and like ritualized mating displays and things, as opposed to whacking predators. Although they certainly could have done that.
Yeah, it's I think it was the line that I said in the. Wow, they make good sounds. Wow, I'm very impressed by that. But I think it's the line that I said in our episode of like Fossil Friday review over a year ago, when we talked about it, of when you are a hammer, everything is a nail.
Yeah. Trying to see if I got any with the
Lux skin.
The Lux skin. We've got at least one with the Lux skin. So at a point, I'll turn it to nighttime for each of these so we can see the bioluminescence.
One of the things that I do think is interesting in this pack as well, and I think a really good addition, is that I'm not sure if we'll see it here because these guys are very, very slow. But all of the hybrid creatures have social animations with their, I guess, parent species.
Yeah, at least one of them.
At least one of them. I don't think any of them socialize with the Spinosaurus, but I know that these guys socialize with, at minimum, the Ankylosaurus.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's a neat little feature.
You know what's kind of sad about this?
What's kind of sad about this, Dalton?
And it's pursuant to next week's episode, Ankylosaurus. Stay tuned. Is that I think that this animal gets Ankylosaur armor better than Ankylosaurus does in the game.
Hands down. No question asked.
Well, this is the one that was revisited, right? By the,
yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, that.
Oh, what did the first one look?
Yeah.
Less good.
Yeah. Hold on.
Continue with your point there, Amelia.
No, that's all. It's like that would explain it. Yeah, the last one looks like a horrible porcupine.
Honestly, the last one, just the body, it looks very rhino-y. Oh my gosh, with those skin folds and stuff. But it looks almost titanosaur-y, like the new fashion that people are doing with titanosaurs, where it's kind of random spatterings of large spikes and osteoderms, especially concentrated near the hips. Which I don't. Okay. Riddle me piss, Batman. Why do we do that?
Why do we do what?
Why is it that every time I've seen depictions of especially the larger titanosaurs that are hypothesized to have osteoderms, not like the smaller ones like Saltosaurus that just straight up just have osteoderms all over them, that they're always concentrated around like the hips and the like upper tail.
Alamosaurus.
Yeah, there are associated osteoderms with Alamosaurus that I think are kind of associated with remains from that part of the body.
Okay.
There's nothing to say that maybe it didn't have them all over the body, but they're associated with that part.
Okay.
There is some science.
Yeah.
All right. I didn't necessarily think it was just like my sources that I made it the fuck up, but like I know it's becoming a bit of a meme.
Yeah.
And I think that they are present on the Alamosaurus in game? Question mark?
Yeah.
Yep. No,
they're osteoderms on the Alamosaurus. Yeah. Everyone was getting mad about them.
There are, yes, but they're in different places.
They're in different places. Okay. Well, it has the row of spikes down the back of its neck and stuff, and then it has a smattering of them up on the shoulder, actually.
Yeah, which is also not an unreasonable thought that they could maybe be there.
Like this one, so to kind of return to the point, this one actually tried to do armor. Like the last one is just like there are spikes on the animal. This one's like there's actually effort put into making it armor, and it looks good and like it should.
Mm-hmm.
No, yeah, it's nice.
I think there is if taking it at face value of what they've done with these hybrids as opposed to Indominus Rex, which, as I mentioned in the previous video, is my preferred approach to hybrids. Although I think this broaches on it more than anything, just in that this feels like more of a real animal to me than the other hybrids do, or I'll say maybe the other two excepting Spinoraptor.
Spinoraptor just feels like we're going to find that at some point.
Yeah. This does feel like a real animal. It feels more like a hybrid of Apatosaurus and Ankylosaurus to me. The neck is very thick. It's kind of shorter than Diplodocus.
Mm-hmm.
Although I guess that could be like it's a hybrid of a very long, slender-necked critter with an incredibly short-necked critter.
Yeah, watch out, kids! The Slender Man is gonna.
He's so spooky.
It's gonna.
Oh no, not the Slenderman.
Slenderman.
Watch out, Dalton! It's the Slenderman.
Also, like I think this thing has a better Ankylosaurus head than Ankylosaurus does as well.
It does.
Children on the internet. Do you know how you ruin something that's supposed to be scary?
Give it lore.
Writing a ton of awful lore about it. Sorry,
that's my favorite part of the back rooms.
Oh yeah, all the a million Wikipedia pages about it now. Like there's actually a million levels and there are monsters on them.
Anyway.
All right. On to the next one.
Well, there might I think I was going to say something else about it, but I'm not sure.
I mean, they give it like Capitegulae, which is pretty cool.
It's super neat.
Which it didn't have in the old one. The old one had the hornlets in the back. I think this one, the head just is leagues better. Like they really have improved this design majorly. And really have elevated it, in my opinion. Do we want to see the bioluminescence on this one?
Yes, yes. And I would love it. I would love if we're able to like.
Whoops, wrong side. Able to what?
Oh no! Don't restart.
Nope. Don't worry.
If we were able to see one of the social animations as well, but
I was trying to. That's why I paused when we were having our digression there, just because there was an Ankylosaurus close by.
Maybe we could just speed it up for a second.
Yeah, we can do that.
Ankylosaur in bio.
So this is the Ankylodocus bioluminescence. This one doesn't do much for me.
Docus in bio.
Yeah, especially like I don't like the osteoderms glow.
Yeah, I don't really like that either.
I would have liked it if it was like everything but.
I mean, here we although the animals are fake. Actually, we did kind of mention this in the old one that, there's, genetically modified glowing animals. But I think it's also worth stating just, for our audience, that in real life, there are hybrids of species, things like ligers and stuff.
And they glow.
And they do not glow. There are things like platypus, which are hybrids of ducks and mammals, and they glow. One of those things is true. One of those things is a lie. Guess which one is true? Anyway, where was I going with this? Yes, so I would like to talk about the Sturddlefish.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
The Sturddlefish in the room.
Usually, when species hybridize, it is because they are very close relatives, and often those, like within the same genus, at least. Maybe very closely related genera, even though genera are fake. But this is what happens. However, we do know, and this hurts my brain and makes me worried about what is real. Are species real? Yes, is the answer. But there's a big asterisk because two fish, the paddlefish and the sturgeon, which are these early diverging ray fin fishes, with mostly cartilaginous skeletons, separated from each other in about the Jurassic period. And wouldn't you know, they can hybridize. They can produce offspring that are a little bit sturgeon and a little bit paddlefish. In my opinion, they look a little more like sturgeon than they do like paddlefish, but they have this elongated little rostrum, which is pretty characteristic of paddlefish. Anyway, this probably shouldn't be possible, and I don't know if we know if the young are reproductive.
I don't think they've tried yet to breed the Sturddlefish because they're not naturally occurring to the best of my knowledge.
No, I think they occurred accidentally in like some kind of breeding thing.
Yep.
But
hang on, I think we're going to get a social animation.
Yes. Anyway, so I mean, I guess if you tried this with maybe in real life, the Diplodocus and Ankylosaurus could strudel hybrid fish. They almost certainly couldn't, but it's just a fun thing to keep in mind that sometimes weird things happen.
So
that's all I have to say.
There is a recent paper that came out by a colleague of ours, Chase Brownstein, and a suite of other authors, discussing the concept of living fossils and how they come about. Because similar to the Sturddlefish, there are two different species of gar, another early diverging bony fish, rayfin fish, that are separated by tens to hundreds of millions of years. I don't remember offhand. And they hybridize in the wild and are known to produce viable offspring that are like almost perfect intermediaries between the two. The physical differences between the two species of gar are less than those between the sturgeon and the paddlefish. But if you look at the bones in the skull of the gar, the hybrids are like a perfect hybrid. It's crazy. And they also share a very big distance. Now, the thing that this paper argues is driving this ability for them to hybridize is also essentially what's allowing them to kind of retain the phenotype of being a quote unquote living fossil, of like looking like they haven't changed much evolutionarily, is that they have very slow rates of molecular evolution, right? They accumulate mutations very slowly, perhaps because they repair their DNA particularly well. But in the paper, they sample tons and tons of genomes of different vertebrates, and GARs are among the slowest changing genomes of any vertebrate group. And so that kind of long distance hybridization may kind of be coupled to or contingent upon having that kind of really either slowly evolving genome or really like high degrees of genome repair that prevent mutation, things like that. Given that it's actually very hard to bracket it, because in the paper, I think crocodilians are pretty low. They have pretty low rates of molecular evolution and mutation.
At least the crown.
Yeah. Crocodiles do, whereas birds do not. Right. And so like trying to use the extant phylogenetic bracket to determine like, hey, what would dinosaurs be like? Who knows? My gut instinct would be that the slowness of crocodiles might be correlated to the crown group's slow metabolic rate compared to the high metabolic rate of crown birds.
I think that's a fairly safe assumption.
And given that we expect that most dinosaurs had pretty high metabolic rates. I don't expect that they would have, tremendously slowly evolving genomes. I don't think there would be particularly long distance, referring to like very distantly related things, actually hybridizing in the Mesozoic. But I do think it would be entirely expected that very closely related species of dinosaurs could hybridize.
Oh yeah.
Would we detect that in the fossil record?
That's a good question.
I would hazard a guess to say probably not.
Detecting hybridization in the fossil record has been something that has been very contentious. There's been a few cases where it's been at least hypothesized, namely in mammoths in North America. There's a pattern that we see of basically that in the north we have woolly mammoths, Mammuthus primigenius. And then in the south, we have Columbian mammoths, which is Columbi. And then in the middle, where those two groups mix, we have the Jeffersonian mammoths. And Dan Fisher, who is the one of the paleontologists at Michigan, was one of the champions of the hypothesis that the Jeffersonian mammoths represented a hybrid population between the Columbian and woolly mammoths.
Well, that's interesting.
Because it seems like they are relatively restricted to where we find both. Kind of a Pizzly bear situation.
Cool.
But
it's cool.
Yeah, like it's hard to and like mammoths are close enough that we can like get some sort of DNA from it. I mean, close enough in time, but like once we get farther and farther out, we're dealing with animals that we know less well. Like we know elephants pretty well. We can see them. So we know quite a bit about like how they look, how they evolve, or like how they interbreed and stuff like that. It's harder to say with animals that we don't even have anything that fills a similar niche today.
I think just before we get too far from it, for Chase's paper, I think just an important thing that an important kind of implication and point of discussion that I think Chase would like, whenever he talks about this, he likes to talk about is that this is a functional way to diagnose what is called a living fossil.
Yeah.
That at least they're proposing, right? So there's a term in biology, it's a living fossil, right? An organism that's relatively unchanged from its.
Yeah. Some people hate the term.
A lot of people hate the term.
I don't.
I think it's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind it. But yeah, it's like this idea is like, oh, actually, no, things have changed a lot. And coelacanths, for example, people call it a living fossil, but a lot of people rightly point out that the living coelacanth Latimeria is actually pretty different than a lot of the Mesozoic ones. There's a lot of diversity there. But it's also worth keeping in mind that, this appears to be a real signal that these things are evolving more slowly. And I think that makes a good case for calling something a living fossil. That's all.
Yeah.
That's all.
I'm releasing some more ankylosaurs in the hopes of trying to bait out the social animation, but we'll see. I don't know if we're going to be able to induce the social animation. Well, as we're ranking it, we'll see if we can get it to come out. But what are our thoughts on Ankylodocus ranking this design?
What does Jimbo Napolo say?
He has a bad opinion, and buddy. Oh.
He's amended his opinion.
He's amended it. He's still wrong.
He has slightly amended his opinion. So we could start it out with Jimbo Napolo's opinion. We'll just do his revised opinion. He gave Ankylodocus, however you want to say this name, a C, and says it's not a bad design. He just dislikes the idea of hybrids more than anything.
So he hates fun.
He's a man standing by his principles.
Yeah, but
Whatever happened to the strong, silent type?
None of us are that.
No, this was a surprise joke.
Okay, I like this a lot. I'm not inherently opposed to fun and or hybrids in this game because I don't know, I don't care. The concept never bothered me. And this, like earlier we had said how it kind of feels like stitching animals together. I don't really feel that way. I think this is kind of actually taking the Indominus route where it's like it's a much smoother blend of the stupid things instead of just like copy pasting, parts. And I like it a lot. We'll get to that later. But even that I don't always dislike if it looks fine. But it doesn't bother me at all. I kind of like it. It's plausible but also showy. Like it's not boring. Like I think the Spinoraptor spoiler is boring, but
how could you?
It looks nice, but it's boring as a hybrid. Like it's like we're already doing something silly and biologically impossible. We might as well have fun. This has more fun. Like it just has more character to it, and I like it a lot. I'm giving it an A for Ankylodocus.
Okay.
Ooh.
Slay Queen, Yas Queen.
Don't say that.
Yeah, what? I can't.
I'll start out right out the gate with my letter ranking. I'm gonna give it a B. Like I don't hate it at all. Like I think that this is a really good like realization of that design concept of if you were going to cross and I mean in the like fantasy genetic sense, not in like you're trying to describe an animal sense of like across an ankylosaur and a sauropod, this is what you would get. And I enjoy it. The only reason I'm giving it a B is because like I wouldn't necessarily put it in my park just because again, like, hey, shocker for the viewers, the paleontologists who were playing this game like paleontology animals.
What?
Yeah, and like if this was a Shonisaurus, I did it again. Shunosaurus. God.
Wait.
If this was a Shunosaurus, if this was like a Saltosaurus or something like that, then like I would like and not just like change the name or something, but like I think that this is the basis of a really, really cool design. I think it's well done, and I think it's pretty, and it makes really, really good sounds. So B.
Okay. Wait, am I skipping anyone?
No, it's your turn.
Okay. On the grounds that I like dinosaurs in my dinosaur game, it's not going to be higher than what I'm going to say it is, but it's also a pretty like. It's pretty good compared to the last. I kind of forgot how ugly the original one was and how much nicer this one is. It's a B for me, folks. B for
Ankylodocus.
Yeah, B for something.
Yeah. This is, I think it's my favorite of the four. I'm going to say that. It's certainly my favorite of the four. Because while I think Spinoraptor is more conceivably like real, this one is a good design. It's a very good creature design. They take good design elements from this. Okay, I'll say that. They take good design elements from Apatosaurus. But the name is Ankylodocus, so that's what we're left with. But I think they take a good design influence from Ankylosaurus, especially. In fact, they design a better Ankylosaurus on the frame of a sauropod than the Ankylosaurus that Universal designed for their movies. So kudos to Frontier in that.
Yeah.
It's not bad to look at. This would be a good, like, if you were trying to, for whatever reason, make like a retrosaur or like a 1920s King Kong park, this would fit right in. This is a design right out of that era, which there's some nostalgia factor that I like too. The sound design on it also rips, and like Scott said, it's amazing. These sounds are really cool. The bioluminescence on this one doesn't really add anything to it, I don't think. this one is the least egregious, or second least egregious, but it's my favorite design. I think I'm torn between B and A. There are some good color. There are some good colors for this one. There's those sounds again, which are really good. The sounds, I think, push it to A for me.
Good
it
Lord,
would be B, but
man.
the sound design makes it an A. Like, they really knocked that out of the park. It's an A.
Fair.
Okay, hold on. Oh, sorry.
Nice.
If you had another.
Oh yeah, I just wanted to say, like, Dalton, on your point there where you were saying that it's more of a Apatosaurus and stuff, I just kind of was struck by why the hell did they choose to like do it with Diplodocus anyways? Because like, A, it's not that flashy of a sauropod. B, the bits that are interesting about Diplodocus are elements that are hybridized out of it, like the long whip tail and the incredibly stupid long neck, which are things that, especially with the whip tail, are things that you just kind of cannot have if you're making it a hybrid with Ankylosaurus. I think an Ankylosaurus, like sauropod hybrid, is a neat idea. If anything, do it with a Margosaurus or something like that. Give it super weird long neck spines and stuff.
Because
right, so
you
that
can
kind of-
split the name in half and recognize that it's a new animal. Otherwise, it would just be Ankylosaurus or Apatosaurus.
That's a good point. That's a great point. It's the point.
Yep.
Amelia got it in one. Also, this is this is another one that came from the Ludia games first.
Yes.
Which, interestingly, as we go, I think Spinoraptor's next on the table. I was reminded of this because I did play that game when it came out, that the Spinoraptor was originally a hybrid of Utahraptor and Spinosaurus, because then you didn't have to use Velociraptor for both it and the Indominus because of the way that game mechanic worked. So, but now it's just Velociraptor.
Before we jump off of this, very quickly, we mentioned this in the teaser video for this, but like, if this could have been something that kind of carves out the same shape, but was a real dinosaur, what do you think? What do you think we could get the closest stand-in for maybe people who buy it and are like, what if I could pretend this was a real thing?
Like Scott said, maybe some kind of armored titanosaur, or like a Shunosaur, or are there some other like Mamenchisaurs that are thought to have like a tail club?
Yeah, I think stuff like Omesaurus or stuff like that. Nothing so big.
Yes, but
no.
It has the wrong body shape for it. Like, I would say that the closest is, well, I guess I think it's a dubious. No, it is a dubious genus, and I especially think that the reconstruction that would look like this is dubious. Is there's a very, very poorly known Rebetchosaurid sauropod called Augustinia that for a while was depicted as kind of having these essentially very similar to this pair of osteoderms going down the back and on the back of the head and on the tail and stuff. I think that it was found that those might have been stegosaur bits, but I'm not 100% sure. I know that it's like we don't have much of it, and what we have of it is it is probably almost definitely not the weird kind of basically hybrid between a Thyreophor and a sauropod here. So if you wanted to do an old school Augustinia, which I love and was for a little bit one of my favorite sauropods before I found out that it probably didn't look like that. This would be a really good way to do that, minus the beak.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I would have preferred this to be an early sauropodomorph of some kind, but that's all right.
Yeah, I think as we move over, something that's worth saying is that a good thing that came out of this pack is a new suite of social animations, and I don't know if they're entirely new rigs, but I think they might be for some of these things that modders can then use to do stuff. So the modding scene, great for them. I don't have any mods installed. I'm not like personally against it. I just haven't gotten around to it. But I think that this is opening up a good toolkit for mods. Shall we move on to the next design?
Yeah.
All right. So alphabetically, the next one is Spinoraptor. We go straight from A to S, and all of the rest of them have S in the name.
Let's go.
Start with S. So here comes some Spinoraptors, which I guess I didn't anticipate that they'd be big, but they are big.
No, they're big boys.
That's one of the things I think that they changed from the previous game to this one, is that in the previous game, I think that they were all roughly raptor size.
Would you like my first fun observation?
Yeah.
Their heads almost look more like an actual velociraptor than the
Yes,
game's
they
velociraptor.
do.
They're long. I guess it's like almost like the Patasaurus again. They're long, like, maybe a little longer than living velociraptor, but they got the length, and the tooth row is also not stupid and under the eye.
Wait, is it really not?
Hang on,
I'm almost certain it's not.
Sorry, that one just went into a ditch. So
Where it belongs. No.
Stop. Wow,
It's good. Yay!
God damn. Yeah, that's a velociraptor skull.
We did
Almost.
it. We did it, Joe. No, I mean, like, obviously, it's got way more teeth. Well, actually, I'd have to count them, but it's different.
Do you want to count them?
I don't. Yeah, let me count them. Dalton, how many teeth are in that maxilla? And pre-max?
17 total per side.
That's just a little over. And how many in the denary?
20.
Okay, that's a
22.
lot.
That's way
All right,
over.
it's got more than a velociraptor would, but we like this. We still, it's it's not terrible.
No.
It does have ugly pronated wrists.
Yeah,
for
the
some
wrists
reason.
are back to being bad.
Well, they're bad on the velociraptor model too.
That's true.
Right, but I feel like
And the
this is
Spinosaurus.
And the
this is
Spinosaurus.
chance to clean them up.
Yeah, it is kind of funny. If anything, like if there was a mod to defin the Spinoraptor and shrink it down to the like movie velociraptor size, it's just this is a JP styled actual velociraptor.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's okay. This one's fine. It's unoffensive.
If anything, it kind of just sucks that we've got some ones with boring patterns on them.
Yeah, this one's nicer.
That's nice.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, I like the colors. I like the patterns.
The snout is not really that Spinosaur-y. It's like a little long and it's got a bit of a kink, but it's really more like the Baryonyx. Like a Spinosaur feature is that, the nostrils are not necessarily at the very tip of the rostrum. They might be a little farther up.
Does it fish?
Yeah, it fishes.
And that is because the premaxilla are extended anteriorly, which some have inferred as evidence of perhaps a ambush, sit and wait predatory style. But I would say to that idea, I would remind our viewer that a lot of fish have most animals where the premaxilla, the snout is elongated because the premaxilla is elongated. The nares are in the middle of the rostrum anyway. So like most birds have what we would consider retracted nostrils, as do phytosaurs and some other groups. So I don't know if it's a slam dunk evidence in either direction. That's the closest you're going to get to Spinosaur discussion.
Yeah. If anything, I'm slightly disappointed with the sounds that this guy makes.
Yeah.
They're just raptor noises.
Which is a shame because the Spinosaurus has some good noises.
It does.
Blub blub.
I'm gonna switch us to night vision really quick.
Especially, like, I will say that I know that we were really nice to the Utah Raptor in the last pack.
Yes,
for the sounds it makes. We were nice to it for many reasons because it's like amazing and I love it with my whole heart and is my canon, like in my mind, depiction of what Utah Raptor looks like now. But
high praise.
I know that in particular we talked about how we were being very nice when it came to the. Do we really not get any?
I guess we didn't get
That's
any
hilarious. How the sounds that it made were all like pitch shifted velociraptor sounds.
Mm.
And now we get another raptor in a DLC and they're just velociraptor sounds.
Right.
It would have been really cool if they had some unique noises. Like they didn't have to go as hard as they did with Ankylodocus, whatever. But they did, and I appreciate it. But like, it would have been wonderful if they had just some unique noises for this guy. Well, let's see it glow.
Listen, I'll keep.
I like the glow on this one more than on Ankylodocus.
That's cooler.
I'd go with this one because it contrasts more nicely.
Yeah, that's really cool. I like that a lot.
Yeah, I dig this. Amelia, did you want to mention what you were telling us earlier about the jellyfish protein?
Yeah. So in the last video about these hybrids, we kind of alluded to, and I think in other videos as well, we've alluded to like how glowing is something that seems to like, it was one of those things that happened really early on. Like it's like an example of real hybridization. Like it's not hybridization in the sense that they've interbred two animals, but it's in the sense where like you are basically introducing a foreign gene, which then the mechanics of that animal read out and they spit out the product. And in this case, the product is GFP or green fluorescent protein, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's a protein Amelia, that fluoresces green.
Is it from jellyfish?
Yeah. Yeah, okay. So it was originally found in jellyfish, and then they figured out that you could give it to mice and they would glow. And so that's what's led to like the glowfish trademark fish at pet stores. Not glowfish as in like the little glow tetras or those guys, but like the ones that are like neon yellow, orange, pink, blue.
GLO specifically.
GLO specifically, yes.
The mutants.
And if you've seen those, and if you've seen any of like the kind of press releases about the glowing mice and other glowing critters,
out.
Oh, he's freaking out, yeah.
What the fuck is going on?
Who knows, man?
The GFP is in his brain. Okay. Anyways, so in those animals, when it's introduced, what happens is the entire animal glows. It is not, I don't think it ever shows up in patterns like this. Like natural fluorescence does. So like glowfish with a W that are not trademarked, like the little red-blue tetras. There's red and blue ones, there's little orange ones. There's a couple others, I think. But those are the most common ones. Neon tetras, that's the name. That are like bright. I don't know if they're actually glowing or iridescing or what it is. But my point
I think they're iridescing. I don't think they're actually like fluorescing.
Yeah. But like in lanternfish, the glow is or flashlight fish, you know, the glow is concentrated in a spot. In natural animals, like some animals that naturally fluoresce, like the fluorescence shows up in patterns, and that's because like they're doing it a different way. It's not necessarily GFP, but also like that they have special cells that hold that, so you can distribute those cells in a special way.
A lot of them, if memory serves, they are some sort of symbiosis with fluorescent bacteria that they specifically hold.
Venom.
Yes, exactly. For a lot of them, that's what it is. So in naturally occurring animals that fluoresce, that's why you get patterns of color, of patterns of glow. However, with the real glowing like hybrid things that we've been able to create, for lack of a better word, the whole animal glows. There's no distribution of color like it would be here. So the only way for these animals, like with these bioluminescent skins, to actually have looked like this is if the real animal had actually bioluminesced in this way.
Yeah.
Sorry, the cat just my thing.
What I will say, because I was looking up, I was like, oh, I remember there being someone like, I remember them making glowing cats at one point. And I found the paper where they describe doing this and putting GFP into cats. So these are some transgenic cats that they made as part of a study, I believe, to look in methods of investigating FIV.
Was it not to warn against settlement near nuclear waste repository sites? I'm going to keep making this incredibly niche reference, and no one's going to get it but me, but I'm going to be very happy about it.
And the cats, the photo of the cats, they are not glowing uniformly. The glow it does seem restricted to certain areas of the body. And not patterns per se. What I suspect is happening is that wherever the cats are more melanated, wherever they have darker fur, the glow just can't quite express as much.
Mm-hmm. I bet it's from the skin, not from the hair.
Yeah.
that makes sense. And I was just kind of thinking about that as well.
Yeah, like, so that's just a minor addendum to the truth you were discussing.
Yeah. But then also, like, as in case it was cut, I don't believe it was, but like when we say like this kind of hybridization is not actually hybridization, it's called being transgenic. So it's when you introduce new genes, because like basically like the cool thing about living things is all living things like read the same instructions. They all work with DNA, which means they all have the equipment that you need to read DNA, and that's why we can do this. That's why we can make GMOs, basically. In that way, and we can do this transgenic stuff. So like the book that I have here that I've been paging through, because we're going to talk about it at some point. Guess what? It's botany hour.
No,
at the point. No, well, because
plants.
Well, and the reason is like as y'all know, I haven't had a chance to talk about plants in a while. Plants are weird. They are living things, but they kind of play by their own rules. They don't play by their own rules. They take the rules and they like stretch them as far as they possibly can. In ways that
out the window.
The rules are for losers. Plants are cool. They don't need rules. They basically like they push the limits of like what can you do with DNA and still survive and reproduce and be successful as a living thing. And they are like it. There's at least, I mean, not nowadays, but I know a couple of years ago there was a big freak out collectively about GMOs, like genetically modified organisms. And the funny thing to me about that was just like everything domesticated is a GMO, technically. Like no one actually seemed to understand what it meant. I say no one, as in like folks that were just not exposed to this kind of material didn't really understand what they were saying. It's like everything is inherently GMO'd. And like so many like people seem to think it comes back to this idea, I think, that we touched on the last video about how science communication about genetics in these movies is really bad because the movies are movies and not science communication. But like the way people tend to think about how DNA works that comes from these movies tends to be very flawed. Like the way that hybrids work, the way that genes work, the meaning of something being genetically modified.
Amelia, can I have a 2-second anecdote that we'll be right back on, but it enforces your point of people don't know how genes work and the GMO thing?
I love people being wrong, so yes.
Okay. You'll love this. So one time, per your point there, I was over at one of my friends' places. We were having dinner with their family. And I was sitting there and just kind of like, the conversation had died down a little bit and I was looking around at stuff. And I was looking at the little grinder of salt that they had. And I noticed that the salt had a non-GMO sticker
I love
on
that.
it.
That's
amazing.
so cool.
And I remember my brain broke and I was like, I genuinely asked them, I was just like, am I seeing this correctly? I'm reading this wrong. This is not here. And then I believe that the direct quote that I had was, it's salt. It's a rock. It's not an O. It doesn't have any G's to M.
That's pretty good.
So go on, Amelia.
Yeah, it reminds me of like plant-based mashed potatoes and like things like that.
Awesome.
It kills me. It's so funny. Plant-based pasta, you know, like, I mean, which I guess they have eggs in it, but it doesn't matter. It's just like there's this silly like ooga booga factor about genetics that just it's ultimately, I can't speak for the rest of the world. At least in the United States, I think it's a failure of the public education system to teach this stuff appropriately.
Mostly just a way to fleece people out of money.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway. So
it's like labeling things as organic.
Yeah.
Right. Like it's ridiculous. Like it's like, look, you know, and I did a bit of like, speaking of like SciComm, like things. Speaking of SciComm and the forms that it can take, when I was in high school and college, I don't know, both maybe. I worked a couple summers at a garden center. My job was I was outside watering the plants, taking care of the plants, answering questions. That's how I know a lot of what I know. But also like I know it because I took biology courses. And like sometimes I feel like I did more science communication on that job than I've ever done as an actual paleontologist. Just because you interact, like most people aren't exposed to this. And for plants, especially, most people really do not interact with plants on that level. And even in college level biology courses, the plant chapter is always skipped. You get the intro to plants, you're told that they have a cell wall and they photosynthesize, and you have to memorize the Krebs cycle. And like that's the only exposure to plant biology that most people get. And like to the point where like I had a person at the garden center ask me on her tomato plant that she was going to buy if she should cut off the flowers. I'm like, not if you want the tomatoes, but it's just, and a lot, like we sold these plants that were really cool. They were grafted, and grafting is like a very common method of modifying plants into like basically what you do is you cut off, you literally do the hybrid thing that Jurassic World does, but in plants it works. You take one half of one plant and one half of another plant, and you literally split, like just stick them together, and eventually they're like cool, and they just join up and they grow together. It's wild. Like we do this a lot with apples and like other produce, like tomatoes were what we sold at the garden center, that you'd have the root system of one plant and like the top part is a completely different plant. So basically what you're doing is you're giving the plant a stronger disease resistant root ball while still getting to enjoy a different kind of tomato. Basically, it could be the same root system across all these different kinds of tomatoes, and they've been grafted, and it's wild. But to get back to kind of like this
I've heard of people doing that with guerrilla gardening stuff in cities, of splicing fruit branches onto the ornamental bullshit trees that are around cities just to provide people with free food.
Yeah, it's so
That's
cool.
cool.
Like, because it's like the coolest part to me is like that just plants just roll with it. They're like cool, and I don't know. I mean, if things have progressed since like I took my botany course or like this book was written, that would be great. But I know at the time of reading this and at the time of taking my courses, it was still very much an unknown, like how plants are able to do this. We don't really understand how their hormones work, how they respond to these hormones. We kind of know that some of them seem to be associated with X, Y, and Z, but like it's wild. And so to come back to hybrids before, we get way too far off of this, plants don't play by the normal rules. So normal rules as in animal rules. So in animals, chromosome number is very important. And that's a big reason why different animals can't always hybridize, because what happens when you reproduce is that the cells come together, and if there's a different number of chromosomes in each cell, and they got to line up to do their thing. And if they line up and there's not the right number, they can't separate properly into the different cells, and just it causes a lot of problems. Which, like, you might be familiar with various chromosomal disorders in people. And like that's kind of it's a different thing that causes them, but like that's the gist. And that's why in animals, either why hybrids can't happen in the first place or why the offspring wind up being sterile, because then whatever number of chromosomes they wind up with, they cannot turn that into the sex cells, because when sex cells are formed, they split into half the number. And for example, if you have an odd number of chromosomes, you can't evenly split. So like there's it just doesn't work. Because they can't line up properly during meiosis. They can do mitosis because they're all duplicating and that, but they cannot do meiosis where there's an extra cut into half, which is what forms the sex cells. So that's why they wind up being sterile. Plants decide, forget that. Who cares? They can instantly hybridize. They can be polyploid, which means that single cells can have multiple sets of chromosomes. Second of all, they can just change numbers of chromosomes. It doesn't matter. You can have a hybrid. Oh, we have an odd number now. Oh, well. And I don't really know how they overcome it. But like literally, you can take two different families of plants, hybridize them, and you just get an instant new species. And then that thing's good to go. It can reproduce. No problem. Because the other thing plants can do that most animals cannot do is reproduce asexually. And because plant reproduction and propagation is very different from animal reproduction and propagate, or like animals don't propagate, plants can propagate. And propagation is like, mostly you use that to refer to multiplying your plants without actually breeding them or crossing. Like you don't deal with seeds. This is like, if you've ever taken plant cuttings, that's propagation. It's a kind of asexual reproduction. And that's part of the reason that plants can do this. And I'm going to try and flip to, there was a page on here.
I have a dumb question.
Yeah.
Would like cutting up a sea star be considered propagation?
Yeah, I guess. That's horrible. It's an invertebrate, but but yeah, basically it's the same concept.
That's the same.
Yeah, I guess. That's terrifying. Weird. Yeah, I hadn't thought about it like that. With plants, there's other ways though too. There's like they can send out runners. That's what strawberries do. They can send out runners. They can do
pups, like what spider plants do.
They can do pups. Yeah, so pups is like when they just start to grow a new plant on themselves.
Oh.
And you can just take off the whole baby plant. So like Scott said, spider plants do this. So if you ever
That's how I got the one in my bedroom. I stole it from work.
Yeah. If you have a really big spider plant, they just start to grow little babies on the ends of the leaves, and you can just take them off and throw them in the dirt, and they're good to go.
I don't much care for this.
No, it's so bad. But yeah, and like it's just so like they've got oh god. So and they can even the other thing I'm reading here now too is like they can back cross. So like the hybrids can then go ahead and hybridize again with the parents. It's just no rules. There are no rules. There are rules. Like this is an exaggeration, but like plants are basically aliens is what I'm getting at. They are, as I think it was James said this another time in another video, they are a different way of being alive. They're working with the same basic materials, but they're just so much more tolerant of variations on these materials.
Right, like it's a way of being alive that's like 3 billion years separate from ours. So like
really, literally, yeah, exactly. And so like the other thing that plants can do that we can't do that I'm reading about right here is like it's almost parthenogenesis. It's called apomixis, which is where sterile hybrids can reproduce. They're not actually sterile, so whatever. Sterile hybrids can reproduce asexually. So this is the production of seeds without fertilization. A cell divides by mitosis, forming an embryo. What do you mean? Like it's just they're so cool. They're so different. You know, and this is something the examples that it gives, are you ready for this? And this might explain a lot of lawns. Dandelions do this. Dandelions do this, it says, and it says wild blackberries do this. They're among the most, they're successful. They're everywhere. They're so, and if you've ever tried to get rid of dandelions or get rid of blackberries in your yard, like it's impossible. Because why would you
want to get rid of them? They're so tasty.
Like, first of all, why would you want to get rid of them? But thorns, it's like, thorns, or like for me, what has happened is they have left their confined area and started to take over the rest of the area that I don't necessarily want thorns in.
Oh, does mint do that too?
So, mint might. I wouldn't be surprised. So and then the other thing with these things, right, is like they can do all of it, and it's. Like it says here, it's like they can do this. They can also just reproduce normally with bisexual reproduction, and they can also be propagate vegetatively. So in plants, when you're propagating vegetatively, that means like that's like sending runners or cuttings or pups or that kind of stuff. Like when there's no sex cells involved, basically.
Our channel.
Wow.
Anyway, that concludes Botany Hour. I will always defend plants as something
that's an educational channel now.
Yeah.
We made you learn about plants.
They're so cool. More people should learn about plants so you can understand groceries and your garden and not buy a single corn plant and wonder why it doesn't produce a head of corn.
Vern did that.
Scott? I didn't know you could garden gorillas.
There you go.
Been holding on to that for a while. I have some more thoughts.
The delay makes it so much better.
I have some more thoughts and insights. Well, not insights. I have some more thoughts and observations with regards to like the glowing that I think would have been interesting but less cool in these designs. But we can talk about those in the next hybrid. But how do we feel about Spinoraptor? It fishes like a Spinosaur. It runs around like a raptor. It's about perfect mid-size between them. It's a nice mid-size sedan of a dinosaur.
How long is it?
Like twice raptor.
Yeah, something like that.
So I'm thinking if we averaged the size of Spinosaurus, we'll say 50 feet, and Velociraptor 6 feet. We should have we should have like an animal that's what,
23 feet long.
Which, like,
That's by the way.
What are you talking about?
I would say that this is like not far off.
The 58 divided by 2 is not.
But 56 divided by 2 is 23.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
No, it's not. It's
Never mind.
28.
No, it's 28.
I'm good at math.
How did you know we're paleontologists?
Our eyes have
James
glazed
isn't
over.
here for one episode, and we can't add.
I can't do
We can't
a simple
do averages.
math trick. That's fine. I call it a trick and not the problem or magic.
Math trick.
That's, it would have been cool to be a mathematician.
I don't know
like a
all the good
scientist.
math spells.
That's embarrassing for
It
me.
would have been cool to know math in like the 13th century, where you're basically a magician. You're like, yes. Aha,
Hey,
for
I
my
mean,
next trick.
Take a number, subtract 5. Add 5.
Okay,
You
we
have
should
the
rank
same-
this, I guess before we rank it. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead, Scott.
Hey, what's a Skeleton Crew DLC episode without one of us getting math really wrong?
It's true. It has to happen at least once.
Yes.
That's true.
Alex, go on.
Before we rank it, very quickly, what is something, a real thing that would be close to this that we would have preferred to see? Don't think about it.
The problem is we already have it. It's conch.
Yeah,
Well, that's
it
a
would
good
have been
one.
conch. But personally, I'd say another one of the weirder Spinosaurs,
That's
like
an irritator.
Ichthyovenator.
Ichthyovenator, yeah.
Ooh, Ichthyovenator would have been a great one. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I would have really liked if they had a hybrid between. I also I tried not. I tried to contain myself while Amelia was talking about plants, but I really liked that one of its idle animations is it's chasing its own tail,
Yeah, I
which
like that
I think
a lot.
is very cute. But I think it would have been really cool if they could have a hybrid between Concavenator and Ichthyovenator, and it just has a full complete
Venator.
spine. It's just Venator, and it has a full complete sail.
Yeah. It would have been cool to have like another, like a smaller Spinosaur, a less known one, or if we wanted to go on the Dromaeosaur route and we wanted a fishing Dromaeosaur, put in like Ostroraptor.
Which, if you follow the lore on the possible DLC, was maybe one we might have actually seen, should the rumors have been true.
Yeah. So how do we feel about Spinoraptor? Amelia.
Well,
Or Alex, you had a point?
I just thought, other possibilities. A Megaraptor.
Yeah.
Could have been
Altaspinax?
Yeah, maybe an unknown early diverging Spinosaur.
Yeah.
Obviously, just without the sickle claw, which is not.
Jeez Louise.
Not to.
I hate how they run.
Tired of watching it run around like a.
Now, would we ever find a Dromaeosaur that looks like this? No, because they would be covered in feathers. Now, that was not in response to anything in particular. Who goes first? Who gives the letter first?
I'll go. Yeah, I get to go first. In my opinion, this is the laziest of the hybrids and the least. I like it the least in that aspect. However, we're not. The person who needs to hear this is not here, but they know who they are. We are not ranking the idea of a hybrid. We are ranking the designs. So no, and by that, I don't hate it as a design. Like I said, I think the reason I gravitate towards the other designs more in terms of hybrid ideas in this universe is that they're silly and kind of weird and stand out, and that's the aesthetic of this. But as a design itself, it's not offensive, other than the hands. But the hands are accuracy, and I remain adamant that I hate to rank things based on accuracy. Because I don't care. I like the face a lot. I'll give it an A. I'm gonna because there's that red one that had the really cool stripes. And just aesthetically, it looks nice. It looks like a nice design, even though it is the laziest.
trying to find the right one.
My query to you, friend, would be what does the King Jimbo say? What does the angry man Jimbo say?
Angry man Jimbo said B. He did not elaborate.
That's not bad. I mean, a B's.
B. Yeah. I am actually a little bit torn between
You're being
B and
right.
C.
Oh.
Because, like, essentially, I wish that they went a little bit, like, this is a case where I would actually say that a lack of accuracy in updated designs is hurting the concept of this animal, because I think it would look more interesting if it had feathers. And I think that it would also look more interesting if they had more updated Spinosaur features to it, namely, like, the crest in the middle of the head, longer, like, more heavy arms, and the swimmy tail. Like, I think that something that has, like, a couple more, like, more recently known Spinosaur features would look a whole lot cooler, but that is a little bit ranking, like, based off, it's like, but that isn't what we got in the game. That isn't the Spinosaurus that exists in the Jurassic Park universe. That's not the Velociraptor that exists in the Jurassic Park universe.
No, but that's a good
point, though.
That's a good point, though. I respect it.
So, like, if anything, it like, I like it because it looks so naturalistic, because it really does look like if you just, like, took a big shaver and just, like, trimmed off the sail on that thing. This is just a Jurassic Parkified Velociraptor, unlike a true Velociraptor, not Deinonychus. Which, oh god, if they did Deinonychus, they probably could have just given it the swimmy tail that the just Deinonychus has. Holy shit. And then it would have been fine. God damn it.
Someone's a little angry.
I'm frustrated, but, like, I think, like, it is a very naturalistic looking design. I would not be surprised if an animal like this is discovered at some point in the fossil record. Again, probably minus the sickle claw, but, like, this is, it's fine. I enjoy it. I would, maybe I'll give it a low B.
Oh my goodness,
I would have loved if we saw more of its social animations with the other things. And I think if memory serves, it has apparently has a fun kill animation on people. But we might do that at the end. Just delete the fences and have some chaos.
Okay. B. It's good. It's got a little too much of the baggage of the old designs. I think Scott has convinced me of the B, in that, like, if this were a hybrid between even like 50% more up to date understanding what either Spinosaurus or Velociraptor would look like, it would be cooler. Not that it would be more accurate, because it's the hybrid, it doesn't really matter, but it would have just looked cooler. But yeah, not bad. B for not bad.
Yeah. Now that, like, as I mentioned, this was, when it was originally conceived, a hybrid of Spinosaurus and Utahraptor. And Utahraptor's in the game now, and it has feathers. And I would really love to see what this looks like with feathers and more of the Utahraptor rig. But that's fine. This is very serviceable. This is, again, it fits into my aesthetic of the hybrids more, and that it looks like an animal. Like, it's got a real quality to it. Like, it's hard to pin down, but the vibes are right for this, and the vibes are right for Ankylodocus, and they might be less so for the next two. Because the vibes are right, but it's kind of blah, I'm going to give it a B for blah.
Fair enough.
Well, so now it's time for, if we're just going in alphabetical order.
Wow.
Time for another Spinosaurus hybrid.
Woo!
And actually, we didn't do alphabetical order correctly, because this is...
Oh my god.
This is before Spinoraptor.
We're also bad.
I was thinking about the trailer order, and I was like, oh, the trailer did it in alphabetical order. Great. Oh, whatever. We're doing it in this order.
We're so good.
We're good at numbers and letters. Here comes something that's definitely good at both of those things, too.
I also seem very... I really wish it didn't have those stupid frill holes.
Oh god damn! I really like the colors on that one back there.
The
that's really pretty.
Do kind of go hard. They had fun with this.
The colors are good. I just hate it.
Is stunning, and talk about. Oh god, it's literally just Spinoceratops with a sail.
Yep,
that's all it is. Well, that's the only difference.
No, they smoothed it out too.
It's smooth.
They got rid of
not as long.
They got rid of the rhino qualities of.
They're pushing.
Okay.
So
it is smooth.
As viewers can imagine, this creature fills me with joy.
Given I think you're doing a little.
Given how I feel about one of its constituent parts, I might be doing a joke 'em up.
God, wow! The
pretty vibrant.
The colors are gorgeous. Man, I wish that they had colors this pretty on the Spinosaurus.
I know. I mean, I guess if I'll give it this. If you were to have godlike genetic power that apparently InGen has in order to create like completely designer animals like this, you'd probably make them this colorful and showy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess.
Is that supposed to be an ear? Oh, it sure is.
No.
Oh, that's terrible.
What?
Hang on.
Does it have pupils?
Does it have pupils? Yes, it does.
Oh, they're just glassy eyed.
Yeah, it's very glassy eyed. I need to really quickly go look at the regular one to see if that ear is there because I don't remember.
No. Well, and check the eyes too.
No, the ear is not there, and the eye is better. It's not as glassy.
No, the hybrids are.
Oh, the ear's there.
The ear is there. Ugh.
Where would
get away from me?
Oh my god. Anyway, okay, we don't need to spend as much time on this.
No, we've covered all the cool topics. The colors are pretty.
It's pretty colors.
Yeah, let me turn it. I'll put us tonight and see if we can see the glow.
That one in particular.
Is this the smallest ceratopsian in the game currently?
No,
Spinoceratops is much larger than Sinoceratops.
Really?
Yeah, I'll find them.
I don't know
close
why
to
I
each
assumed
other.
it was small.
No, it's huge. I think we might not have gotten any glow ones, so let me go to the glow store.
I also, before we rank it, I definitely want to watch this one fish because watching a ceratopsian catch fish is going to be a weird experience.
I'll erase all the foliage so they have nothing else to eat.
And it's what they deserve.
I'll feed you the fish. Yeah, I don't remember what the bioluminescence looks like on this one.
If memory serves, this is also like for some reason they went super hard with the colors on this, and this is the only one that bioluminesces two different colors at the same time.
It might. Yeah, it does. It's got blue on the frill and pink on the back. That's nice. Again, it doesn't seem the observation I had about the kittens was that obviously that like it seems that where they're more melanated, the green protein has trouble expressing, so they have dark patches on their body, and like most vertebrates, as we've said on the channel before, the kittens are countershaded, and so it's less apparent with this, more apparent with the Spinoraptors. But if they were really trying to go for like an accurate, I mean, this is like, what does accuracy even mean at this point? It's not relevant.
I guess a plausible.
Like, if they wanted to be like, hey, this is GFP and not some kind of like sci-fi magic, which this is what it is. But if it was GFP, I would expect actually the underbellies to be glowing because they're the lighter parts of the animals. The other interesting thing is that the kitten's claws had a slight glow, which almost makes me wonder if the osteoderm's glowing isn't as kind of egregious as we thought.
So is it being expressed in like the keratin or like?
I don't know. I mean, I guess maybe the like nail bed.
Horrifying. That's cool.
And I don't know if there's an equivalent tissue like under the keratin of an osteoderm that would then like glow through the keratin or not. It was interesting, but.
Well, I mean, oh god, now I'm second guessing my thing earlier because isn't it that like chameleons, they're like I wouldn't say osteoderms, but it's their projection. They're like bony projections on their skull fluoresce.
They might.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I think their canthal crests
yeah,
can fluoresce.
Yeah. Well, let me look into that. I might be retracting my thing from Ankylodocus.
Let me.
Are you casually spreading me when I spread misinformation?
Get rid of all the foliage.
From what I'm seeing in the GFP animals, like it's the hair blocks it.
Yeah.
So it's happening in the skin.
The one from the television program.
Yes, this is in Camp Cretaceous.
Yes.
Which, okay, cool.
I remember I watched the whole thing, and I remember when this thing showed up, I did viscerally hate it. I don't remember why, other than just, I think it was the first, because it's like, we'll talk about Scorpius when we get to it, but like with Scorpius, I was like, oh, it's a trial run. Like that makes sense. And this one, it was just like, what's the point? Like, knock it off. It's supposed to be cute, and it's just not. I don't like it.
This isn't okay. I'm going to be a hypocrite here because I do like Grogu, right?
Yes.
I'm not going to shock the world by saying that I like Baby Yoda. Generally, though, when things are designed to be cute, it's a fine line. Sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't. And I found that the Spinoceratops kind of didn't, whereas like a Mogwai does. All right, let's see. This is
incredibly
on the topic
goofy
of Camp Cretaceous.
Okay, I like that a lot. I like it eating fish. That's so stupid.
Hey, he's just munching. Why you got to be a hater?
His nostrils.
Look at how easy it is. It's just wrong.
But viewers,
you were going to say, Alex.
My friend Scott Johnston, he after our last video where I made a joke at the expense of this program, he expressed to me that a friend of his once told him that people consider this and the 2008 to 2000, whenever it ended, animated Clone Wars series equitable, which upset me in a way I can't articulate. It was
the way you articulated it was, how can I find that man's brain, eye, and ears? Which I think
Fair
is
enough.
Pretty clear.
And I would like to take this opportunity to also just speak very briefly on a concerning revisionism I see occurring in corners of the nerd internet, which is actually the 2008 Clone Wars series isn't that great and it's just okay, which is, no, it's actually very good and you don't know what you're talking about. That's all. I'm sorry you just learned how to read and read your first old 2005 canon book, 2005 Legends book, and you're impressed because it's quote unquote dark and edgy. A lot of those Legend books are good, but Jesus, be more than an infant and be able to consider things beyond the last thing you read. That is all.
Alex, notice the size difference between the Sinoceratops and the Spinoceratops.
Yeah, they're pretty big. I had a memory of this thing being small. I don't know where that came from.
It's a baby in the show, right?
Yeah, it's tiny in the show.
Yeah.
It's polar. I remember it being in a cold place and not understanding why, because neither of those are cold critters. I guess they could be further. It doesn't really matter. But when I was thinking it was cold, I was going, small, I was going to say, it's I would have much preferred this to be like a Protoceratops or Udanoceratops,
Mm-hmm.
Quadrupedal with a big frill, and something we don't have yet. But now that it's big, there's nothing, I don't want any more North American ceratops. So
I really don't like that the ear hole has lips.
No, why is it so glassy eyed? I just don't understand what's going on with that.
That must be a lighting.
It must be a glitch or something, yeah. Yeah, Alex, in terms of your question of what would you substitute this with, maybe bison latifrons or something, some big mammal with kind of a humped back.
A big hump, yeah.
But
I'd rather have a bison in the game.
I don't want mammals in the game, and I know that's controversial because we're probably going to get smiled on, but I don't want mammals in the game.
What about Arizonosaurus.
Oh, yeah.
Those quadrupedal shuvosaurs from the Triassic.
Could be fun.
Anything from the Triassic. Please give me a Pseudotsuchian.
Arizonosaurus is a Shunosaur?
Shuvosaur.
Shuvosaur? I actually didn't know that.
Yeah, it's so the clade is actually pretty. So poposaurs are the only. Well, not, I don't want to say the only. But of the group, they are the bipeds. But there's like the early ones are like possibly semi-aquatic and quadrupedal, and yeah, there are these like sailed. I think the group's called Lotosauridae, but yeah, sailed and weird looking. Cool stuff. Crocs are cool, guys. Petition Frontier for a Pseudotsuchian pack. Let's do 3 Pseudotsuchian packs. One for the Triassic.
Pseudotsuchian sweep.
You want it.
Yeah, I can't think of anything that I would like not replace this with, but like something that gives off the vibe of this that I would prefer in the game. Like,
how about like if it has to be a hybrid, an aquatic one? Like they're all terrible and disgusting,
honestly,
but at least be creative, you know?
That's something people said online that is it never crossed my mind because I don't think about hybrids, but it would have been cool in this if instead of like the 3 hybrids from the prior game, there was like a pterosaur hybrid and an aquatic animal hybrid.
Well, the other thing, cool. I mean, they could pull it from the phone games, but they could also like, I wonder what Frontier would do if left to their own devices. Like, I wonder what those designers would come up with. Like, just let them be. Let them make something.
Yeah.
At least
let them cook.
Give them one, let them cook, see what they can make. Yeah.
That's a good point. Amelia, like what this could have been was the like Cretaceous Predators pack where it's like, yeah, we have the like new Camp Cretaceous one, which no one's like losing their mind over, but then you have like, I don't know, a brand new, exciting and weird terrestrial hybrid, aquatic and marine hybrid. So you get it, like you flesh it out.
Yeah.
At least, you know, what I'll say about this one is at least this is actually a new thing in the games.
Yeah.
And not just an old. And the Ankylodocus is so different that I would also be like, all right, at least that's like fresh. But yeah. All right, let's rank
this.
Because my headache is not getting better.
I don't want to be in this enclosure anymore.
Alrighty.
Let me get close to
so, Amelia.
The colors save it from lower tiers, but I still hate it because it's Spinoceratops.
Good.
And that one looks like mustard. Okay, it gets a C.
I do like the silly herd of them, though.
Jimbo.
Secret Spinosaurus.
Jimbo was not kind to this. And he condemned it to the bowels of Tartarus and gave it an F.
Well, in his defense, he hasn't seen like the fruit by the foot color scheme.
That is fair. And well, I mean, like that is a good point. I mean, James is famous for his love of vibrant colors on large animals. I will weirdly say that I like this, especially side by side with the Spinoceratops. I like this way more than the Spinoceratops. It's a D. I dislike it strongly, but it's not F tier.
A low bar to trip over.
Yes.
Oh my god, it's a tripping hazard in hell. Like it's a bad one, but like it's less bad than this wrinkly hippo
that one's
monster.
It's cadaver colored.
Oh my god. Yeah.
All right,
Alex.
Last animal we see in the canon. Sorry.
Nope, because they're making a new one. Thank Christ.
This is a low C for me. In that I thought I was going to hate it more when I saw it. But I like that it's kind of smooth and that it's so big is actually kind of funny.
Mm-hmm.
I hate the hills and the frill. The colors are nice. And honestly, the big sail on the back's kind of ridiculous, but it's kind of fun. I'm not as anti this as I thought I would be. It's a C. I mean, it's not like great. I would have preferred to have a real dinosaur, but C.
All right.
Yep. All right. I think going to shock the world.
No.
Because I also think that this is, for whatever reason, this does not give me mental anguish. Like, this harms me. This is so much better than Spinoceratops. It's not even funny. I hate the holes in the frill. I hate the creepy ears. but I think it fixes a few things. It's less emaciated. Because of the ridiculous hump, it looks less like a rhino and has just less of like the broken body that the Spinoceratops has. And the frill is less of a Pringle. Like it still goes up, but it doesn't curl like over the top of itself. It's better than Spinoceratops. It's still, and actually, I'm struggling to think, is this my least favorite hybrid in the pack? And I almost want to say it isn't. Like this is the one that is, I don't know how to say it. Like I don't want to say this is the laziest one to me. And I'm saying this is not a criticism of Frontier because Universal designed this. This is just taking the Spinoceratops, smoothing it, and putting a sail on it. Like this has none of the nuance of the Spinoraptor or the Ankylodocus. It also has none of the just garbage of the next one. I'm torn, and I think I'm going to give this one. The colors help it too. I'm going to give it a low C.
Okay, so
oh no, he's eating sand.
It's also very funny to watch them fish.
Eating sand.
He's
all right, so that's 3 C's, a D, and an F. Sounds like
I think a very low C.
Well, let's call it a low C.
Yeah.
I mean, at least the way that I conceptualize them is like from top to bottom, work towards the middle, and we wind up at C in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah. All
Maybe
right.
the lowest C.
Yeah.
It is the lowest C.
Okay. Well.
Alrighty. And now last
and least.
And least.
No.
The final one.
Shall we release these? Spoiler alert, the release animation kind of goes hard.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll be the judge of that.
Oh, I do like that.
He poses. Ow, buddy, fuck off.
I like them.
Ow, shut up.
I know you're all gonna hate
you're
them.
like right in my ear and my head's killing me. Please go away.
I don't hate it. I don't hate it. I find it weird that it's like the only one that kind of bucks the trend that the previous ones have set of like, well, I guess the previous ones that aren't Spinoceratops, of kind of being like a middle ground halfway between two of them that are kind of like trying to mix those two features. Because this one's just like it's a Triceratops with extra horns and extra long brow horns and extra spikes on the frill, and then stegosaur plates with extra rows of random plates around the plates and a thagomizer.
I like
it really does. Of all of the hybrids, it's the one that feels most like drawn by a child and then made by a very good 3D artist.
It's the one I can't pretend is something else.
Well, that's part of why I like it.
Fair enough.
Like it's goofy and stupid, but unique. Like I like it.
Yeah.
I'm a little.
The colors are nice.
I've got kind of. I'm of a mixed mind. I'm of two minds about it. Part of me appreciates like the extra horn and the extra plates as like a it's like overexpressing these genes. Like they made it and they didn't do a good job. Like it's a creepy creature. Like that appeals to like the sci-fi kookiness of it. But I really think I would like the design more if it just didn't have those. Like especially this horn really bugs me out. I don't like
where the fuck is it coming from?
It's coming from the parietal, I guess.
Because it looks like it's branching like off the frill, not off of like the orbit.
Yeah.
No, it's off the frill.
Which I don't like.
I think the way they could have done it better, like, I don't mind it, but I think the way they could have done it better to appease that is to split the horn itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like to do like, you know, in the way that
Antler
like
stuff.
deer antlers sometimes
Yeah.
are non-typical, I think is the phrase.
Yeah,
Or
No,
the
the
word.
colors are nice though. I'm like,
I like the lower horns.
Yeah.
To quote Omicron, Lure Ruler of Omicron Persei 8.
What?
No, I'm talking about the episode where they're harvesting human horn.
human horn. That's an old Futurama episode.
Which is our
probably older
nose.
than most of our viewers. Well, the lower horn is not.
The lower horn's not the nose.
But like, I don't know, man. I just like, if you were to tell me like come up with a hybrid dinosaur design, this would be the first thing that I would think of, or something along these lines, or like something like that. I know everyone was like really like, oh, why didn't they put Ultimasaurus in the game? Where it was just like, I don't know. Sure, fine, whatever.
I
Where
do
it's
wish-
just like,
Hold on, I've got the ultimate Twitter guy hybrid dinosaur.
what?
Two sympatric species of passer. Why didn't you consider that?
There you go.
Exciting. Cool.
Amelia,
I know that birds are dinosaurs. Did you know that? Did you know that birds are dinosaurs? Guys, did you know that birds are dinosaurs? Did you know that?
Anyway.
Did you know that?
I was going to say I was completely unaware of the Ultimasaurus thing until a friend showed it to me the other day, and like I thought I was going to hate it, and then I saw it, and I saw the mods that people have made for it, and it kind of kicks ass. And it's
The,
like,
the mods that people have made for it go so hard.
How do you spell it?
It's like-
I've not heard of this.
it's like,
Oh, it is.
yeah,
It's
go ahead.
bonkers, Alex. It's basically like it is the ultimate like combination of ask a child to make a hybrid dinosaur. It's basically think of every iconic feature of a dinosaur and put it on the same dinosaur. Like it's a T-Rex, but it's bigger than a T-Rex.
Oh wait, it's a Triceratops T-Rex with ankylosaur armor and a tail club and dromaeosaur feet. You know what?
It kicks ass.
It kind of
That's
goes.
pretty cool.
It kind of goes. Well, it's not just an ankylosaur tail. It also has spikes coming from the ankylosaur tail. So
this is a baby's idea of what's like a hybrid should be, but like it's cool.
Yeah, I mean,
that baby was right.
A lot of the stuff from the Chaos Effects toy line is pretty cool. Like Tanaconda, just a Tanystropheus with an anaconda. So it's just got a snake for a snack. It's got a snake for a neck. It's a toy line that I didn't like. I was just a little too young for, but I wound up seeing like they were fairly common in like secondhand shops of like, oh, here's like a weird Lost World toy, and I was very confused by it as a child.
No, I had, and you know what? Honestly, I think I would have liked to see. Now that I'm thinking about it, is there was like a Velociraptor Archaeopteryx one.
That one goes so hard,
which is really cool looking because it's. I mean, you're basically hybridizing two things that are pretty closely related, in relatively speaking, but like also like
you just get a troodontid.
Well, yeah, that, and also I had like a false memory from that toy that there was like a more accurate like canon Velociraptor. I'm like, no, there's a more accurate one, and then it was not the case.
Let's see. Oh, sorry, go.
No, you can go ahead. We'll go to nighttime. And in the meantime, I was just going to say like. That kind of like it's a completely different aesthetic from the other ones, but for me, like it doesn't harm it. It's just different. It's like there are because for a game like this, because it's a game, it's not real, which means we can have opinions about it that are different from yours.
Not allowed.
No, I know.
I mean, the
but anyways,
colors on this are so early 2000s. Holy.
They're like as we've said, I think a couple times. Like there's two ways you can go about doing fake hybrids. Like one is do it how or try to do it in the way that they actually happen, which is not really copy pasting but like blending, so it winds up looking like a real animal somewhat. The other end of the spectrum is this garbage, which I think is very silly and fun, but it's also like I played both of the phone games for a while, like a couple years ago, and like I was used to it, and like as long as it works out, like I don't care. Like, as long as it's not ugly. It's like I have the same approach to Pokemon. Like, as long as it's not ugly, I like it.
Based.
I'm happy with it. And that's, whether or not that bodes well in Pokemon for my teams depends on the generation and like all of that. But like for this, it's like I dig it. I think it's great. Because it's just like, could they have done it to be more realistic, quote unquote, like with the bifurcating horns and things like that? Yeah. Do I care? No. Like, I'm not counting. I can't see the sutures. It's not a real animal. I don't care. It looks cool.
Amelia, I think it's kind of funny that you brought up the whole thing about like plants having no rules and stuff for how they are put together with Spinoraptor, a very plausible looking animal. And if anything, this looks like if you literally like grafted plates from a Stegosaurus on there.
He's the Lord. He's Godric the Grafted, Lord of all that is golden.
It's a different context. Mm-hmm. Like, that's why. It's like the Spinoraptor to me feels like they're trying to be more realistic and they mess it up. This is not trying. If it's not trying, I'm not going to judge it by real standards because they weren't paying attention to them to begin with.
I don't know. The Spinoraptor feels like they just combined the two things
they
that
did, but like
everyone likes.
The way the animal looks, like, as we talked about, like, they wind up trying to make it kind of plausible, where it's like, yeah, it's got kind of this nice long face. It's got everything's kind of blended well together. It aesthetically looks vaguely okay. It's the right size. It's an intermediate, like all of that kind of shit. Versus this thing was just, who cares? We're having fun.
But Dalton,
yes.
Are you noticing the same thing that I'm noticing on this?
About the plates?
About that one of the plates is like significantly larger than all of the rest of them.
Oh yeah, I was noticing that the ones at the end of the tail just are three in a line.
Oh yeah, they are. But yeah, that left one there is like he's so much bigger than all the rest of them, and it looks really lopsided and weird. Oh.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back. The bioluminescence on this one again also doesn't really do much for me. It's okay.
It would be great if it was like only the spikes. So like only the horns, only the frill spikes, and only the plates. Like that would kick ass. Mm-hmm. It's not bad. I like the blue.
Yeah, the color's nice.
I just had a thought that would be a whole lot more fun with the bioluminescent on this. I wish that it wasn't just the base pattern. I wish that it was something different. I wish that it was like what you see with like hidden bioluminescence and stuff on modern animals, where it's like it's something different. Like maybe have it be like it has eye spots, but they're only visible when it's bioluminescing on the frill or something like that. Like something that like gives it a bit of a different look. And like it really feels like unique.
I see that point, but I think the problem, at least for me, if we're gonna apply real rules to it this time around, like that's a different kind of fluorescing. Yeah. Like that's not actually bioluminescing. That's just UV. So it's like that's why it doesn't match up. Versus like when animals that can glow are not glowing, you can sometimes see like where the pigment is being held.
No, yeah, I'm just saying that this is an aesthetic thing.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Because like I know that there are like birds that fluoresce under UV and stuff like that.
No, I just wanted to clarify for our viewers.
Especially the one that's coming to mind right now is puffins. They fluoresce on their beaks, and it's just the stripe that they already have. Yeah. Like it's there.
Wow,
but then you get
design choice.
But then you get weird things like some owls where there's like bright pink on the underside or something like that.
Can we return to the actual like the question that Alex posed and then didn't answer, because the answer is platypus is that they glow.
Oh yes, they do.
Yeah. Oh yes. Yeah, they glow. They're not hybrids of birds.
They glow now.
They glow now. They rate this now. Let's rate it.
Time to rate.
Yeah, I don't have much else to say about this thing, honestly.
No. I wish it was more similar to the supposed movie design, because I like the Zsuzsanna, but
that's something that I always found funny in like the other hybrids. In like the phone game version of like Stegoceratops it's Pseudoceratops. It's like demonstrably not Triceratops.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah. All right. So,
all right.
Amelia,
as I've said, like I like it. It doesn't bug me, but I think they could have done it slightly better. But just the patterns could have been more creative. And they could have done like, you know what would be weird is if they give it like a stegosaur neck. Like that would have been bizarre. If it had like just a lot, like if it was just shaped a little bit differently, because like it is, aside from all the ornamentation, the body itself is just a Triceratops head on a stegosaur body. And I wish they would have changed some other aspect about it, like either giving it a longer neck or a smaller head, or just something kind of like bonkers and weird about it. Or even like nubbed out the nasal horn. Like that would have been cool too, you know, or the nose horn. I don't know. It could have been better, but I really don't hate it. I actually quite like it. So I'll give it a B.
Our Jimbo gave it a D.
Oof.
But I will be more kind. Not super more kind. I'm giving it a C. I think it's fine. It doesn't scratch any itches like some of the previous ones did, where they're like either a bit more naturalistic or they're just like that concept taken to such a good level, like with Ankylodocus. And I don't hate it as much as I hate the Spinoceratops, because this one at least was doing more than just, hey, what if sail? And if memory serves, I wonder if it actually does this like in the previous game. I thought it was kind of a neat touch that it would alternate between the attack animations of ceratopsians and stegosaurs, where it would like sometimes use the horns and sometimes use the thagomizer. That was fun. I wonder if it does that in this game. I don't know if it does that in this game, so I'm not rating it based on that. But yeah, I'll give it a C.
It's not my favorite. I'd say it's probably. I wanted to give it a high D, but like the issue I have with that
in the head
is that everything's pretty smooth and like clean, and like there's none of the ugliness that I would associate with a D, and none of these, in my opinion, can be Fs, because the category of F is a complete and utter failure. And I think only designs that are supposed to be a real animal can be an F.
That's a good point.
Because I can only be so disappointed. That's the most disappointing thing. A hybrid can be is always going to be less disappointing in terms of just the final design. And I'm going to say this is a low C, because like honestly, it's not. It's fine. I don't feel as negatively as I thought I was going to about this one either, having looked at it for a while.
Yeah, seeing them move around and like in the park is different than like just the little short clip in the trailer. I'm softer on kind of all of them than I thought I would be, just because it is, for whatever reason, it's different. I say that. Am I ever going to use these in any of my parks? No, I'm not. These will be the only time on this computer that these animals are made, and I'm okay with that. This one's a D for me. And it would be a C if it weren't for all the extra gangly bits. And I think the issue with it is that, like I said, I'm of two minds about it, because part of me likes the extra bits and part of me doesn't, except for the extra horn, which I just hate. Is that like it's of a design language that is not in any of the other hybrids, right? Like the three hybrids, even Spinoceratops, which it uses the accursed one, right? The three in the game are just like two animals smushed together, but like they blended them together and kind of tried to make it like this is the median like blend of these animals. That's one approach to doing hybrids, and I like that. I can get behind that approach. The movies took a slightly different approach and slightly similar one, right? In the movies, it was like, hey, we want these to kind of be like plausible animals, but they're kind of monstrous because they were made by science instead of nature, and also, it wasn't just two. It was like an amalgam of many things that produced a unique animal, right? Like everyone talks about the Indominus Rex and like, oh, it's a hybrid dinosaur. But I think it's more worthwhile to discuss the Indominus Rex as a designer dinosaur, because like it is a hybrid, but it isn't just smushing like a T-Rex and a Velociraptor together. Like it is a novel organism that has many traits from many things, and they kind of all incorporate together into a cohesive whole that's a little fucked up. But it's like it's its own thing made from from select bits and pieces here and there. And like that's not how genetics would work. It's not realistic, but it's fiction, so that's okay. I think I prefer the Indominus Rex approach the most. I would have, and like this is not on Frontier again because the Spinoceratops comes from Camp Cretaceous, and I wouldn't be surprised if it was informed by this and also by the Ludia designs from the mobile game, in which those are very much like we're taking two things and pushing them together. It's not we have bits and pieces. I prefer it would have made me happier, I think, for the hybrids in this game to be like the Indominus Rex and just kind of like completely new creatures that were like, we took a bit of this and a bit of this and a bit of this and made something new. I as opposed to just like two things. But if they have to be two things, I kind of prefer the like blend as opposed to like, here's a Lego Stegosaurus and here's a Lego Triceratops and we just like that. So this straddles the two design languages, like, and it puts it in an uncomfortable middle ground that I really don't jive with. So it's a D for me.
Dalton.
Sorry, that was a very elaborated upon.
You kind of inspired me. My new ideal hybrid is Elasmodon, which is a hybrid of Pteranodon and Elasmosaurus, which has pterosaur wings for forearms that are too weak to propel it through the water and also too weak for it to fly. So it just kind of rolls around in shallow water.
I like that.
Desperate for death. And they live for 300 years. Their metabolism is incredibly efficient.
And they have that big pterosaur brain where they know what's happened to them.
Yeah, but it's on the end of just a long neck that they can barely pick their head up. So they just kind of push it through the dirt.
This is some CM Cosman all tomorrow's bullshit. The Q did this. All right. So speaking of punishment, so I guess that means that Stegoceratops goes in C tier.
Are you surprised by our
C
ratings?
for see you next time.
Well, that's it.
Because I have to go to sleep.
I'm going to go look at the better one.
Go look at the better one. We'll thank our patrons and let Alex leave. Shuffle off this.
Post in the comments. What's your favorite hybrid? What two species would you like to hybridize?
Me and your mom.
I'd like to make. Damn, he got me. I'd like to hybridize a human man with a fungus, so I could make a person that spreads and consumes all. Okay, what if we were to hybridize fungus with some kind of blue-green algae? Wait, that's just lichen. I've just
you've created lichen.
I was thinking like it would be unstoppable, just an organism, and I'm like, oh wait, yeah, that's impossible to get rid of.
And it lives in space and survives radiation and like 1,000 other things. Lichen is cool.
Okay, I have an idea. What if we hybridize our thanks with our patrons in the end of this video? I
guess also misinformation. Lichen is a symbiont, not a hybrid. Don't yell at us in the comments. Yes. We know that. I know they're not a hybrid species. Just whatever. How do you classify lichen? Holy shit! Like
the best you can.
You independently classify the parts of it, right? Well,
thankfully,
that's nuts.
I think so, but I think thankfully, because of the way biology works and how people tend to not care about things that are not animals, both fungi and algae fall under botany.
Oh.
Fungi is mycology. It
is, but
its naming is done by like the botanical code.
I don't know about that. Okay. I'm pretty sure it's covered in this textbook. Like they're usually like my field botany course that I took also covered mycology. And I'm pretty sure this book also I know this one has a section on algae because I remember like memorizing it. This It doesn't get like super into it, but it does talk a bit about algae and fungi. And they're always lumped together, and like botanicals sometimes include fungi and algae.
Huh. From cursory looking into it, also lichenized is a term that gets thrown around a bunch for this. Huh.
Well, golly,
it's
there, Scott.
It's a lichenized species of fungus. That's neat. Let's end the video.
Okay, thank the patrons. Who has the list?
I can pull it up again. Hang on. So that concludes our discussion of the hybrids. I hope you found it interesting, because I certainly did. The designs themselves vary in quality, and if you approach it on a design by design basis, there's a lot of good artistry at hand here. I think we can all appreciate that, despite the fact that I think we all would have preferred the DLC to contain real animals. And am I just vamping while I pull up this list? Yes. But now it's here. And so I can actually say thank you very much for watching the video. If you enjoyed the video, please consider giving it a like with the like button. That's always lovely to see, and it helps us out. And do please leave a comment. We've issued many call outs throughout the video as to different kinds of comments you could leave. Consider leaving one or more. We do enjoy reading the comments. We like to see them, even if they're unhinged. We get a giggle. So we do have a good time with those. Please leave a comment. Please subscribe so that you know when the next Skeleton Crew video is going to come out. You thought you were getting Ankylosaurus this week, but Frontier had other plans. So next week, stay tuned for Ankylosaurus. These little pine cones
you got
right
part
there.
of Ankylosaurus this week.
It's true.
You got to bet. Well, spoiler.
Yeah, we have some unkind things to say about Ankylosaurus, but tune in to find out what those are, and subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss out on it. And if you are a fan and you find yourself so inclined, we do have a Patreon that you can become a member of. And joining the Patreon gives you access to many member benefits. Chief amongst those, at every tier of the Patreon, is access to the Skeleton Crew Discord. It is a great community. It's a very fun Discord. We've got a lot of channels, a lot of conversations happening. It's always fun to check in on that. And it's a really tight-knit group, and I really am actually quite proud of it. And it's very fun, and I encourage, if you are interested and would like to, then join us on Patreon. There are many tiers that you can join on. Every member of our Patreon is in the credits, which are rolling right now. But we give a special shout-out to our patrons of the Gorgosaurus tier and higher. And as of the time of recording, those are Benjamin Seepser, nickname, Philip Fico, AK92, Christopher Bellis Jones, Adamolos, Dan O'Kyrus, King Zashu, Max Ironpaw, original username, Pythonic, Swamp Ape Science, Wanderer, and Wheat. Thank you very much to all of you, and thank you to all of our patrons, and thanks to everyone for tuning in and watching the video. A reminder before we close out that April 5th through 7th will be at the Midwest Gaming Classic in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. We look forward to seeing you there if you can make it out. And until next time, we've been the Skeleton Crew. Bye-bye.
Bye.
My name is Scott Johnston, and the Vertebrate Paleontology Fossil Preparator. What?
Earlier, before we recorded this video, Scott, the person known as Scott Johnston, said to me, Dune 2 is only really, really, really good. So now it will be called Mold. If you wish to address a comment towards it, please call it Mold. Thank you.
We can't keep that.
We could if you were brave.